Welcome to Mental Health Momentum, a Silicon Slopes podcast. I'm Dr. David Morgan. I'm a licensed psychologist and the Director of Mental Health Awareness here at Silicon Slopes. And on this podcast, we talk about mental health issues in business and beyond, and we look for solutions as well. I'd like to introduce my guest to you today. This is Shawn Finnegan. Hello, Shawn.
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for being here. Let me tell you about Shawn. Shawn's a seasoned entrepreneur with a proven track record of building and scaling successful ventures. His career began at AOL Time Warner, where he launched a customer support center in Tucson, Arizona, hiring more than 500 employees within 8 months. Wow, that's a lot of employees.
It was sleepless nights. Yeah.
And later overseeing a team of 750 as general manager. He went on to serve as vice president at NET, managing travel teams and cultivating high-profile celebrity partnerships. In 2009, Shawn co-founded a global live event company, growing it to over $100 million in annual revenue. He is also an investor at TaxHive alongside Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank, helping provide tax solutions to thousands of business owners every year. Well, Shawn, again, thanks for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks again for the invite. Excited to talk to you.
So tell me a little bit about any more about yourself, like family, stuff like that.
Yes, I'm a girl daddy. So I have 3 girls. I have 1 daughter left at home, so I have 2 married daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any grandkids yet?
Not yet. We can't wait.
That's good times.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Yeah.
You shouldn't wait. I mean,
Yeah.
well, you have to, but
Yeah, right.
But you should have much anticipation.
My
for
daughters
it.
are starting to talk about it, so we're
good.
stoked. Yeah.
Good. Wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, I love that you responded to my invite, especially regarding mental health. So, what's your interest in mental health? Like own experiences, or people you've known, or
Yeah, so I mean, definitely being a serial entrepreneur, I've been through lots of mental challenges, right? It's having to manage everything and a personal life with your family and try to keep all that in order while you're doing a business is something I never understood before I got into it. And then when you get into it, it is a grind, and I've had many of the roller coaster rides and been through much mental health challenges in being an entrepreneur.
Well, and that's interesting because I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, mental health is just something that it's when something goes wrong, when something breaks, but it's not. I think the way you're describing it is the accurate way. It's like our physical health. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be chronic either. Sometimes in high stress situations, our mental health suffers for a period of time. And then we have to kind of figure out, well, what do we do to manage it? What do we do to kind of get back up on top? So yeah, exactly. And I love the X Room. Okay, so describe what it is, why you started it, all that.
Yeah, so here at Silicon Slopes, we did one. We were just talking about it. We did one 6 months ago. So I do it every quarter. And so I basically, I'm a networker. I build relationships in business. And a long time ago, about 3.5 years ago, I was like, I'm going to make a list of everything I love in networking and the things I just really don't like. And I'm going to do an event that's just everything I love. And essentially what the event is, it's every quarter. It's rare. So if you miss one, you're not going to see the community for months and months.
Sure.
And then 2 is I just want to build relationships. I feel like the greatest way to scale your company and what you're doing is build relationships in business, and then do an affiliate deal, do a partnership deal, referral back and forth, and you can scale pretty quick. And so we've done it now, 13 of them, and we've had crazy stories come out of it. Businesses funded, revenue done. I mean, it's been an incredible ride over the last 3.5 years in that.
So why did you start it? What was your motivation?
So I have a company called TaxHive. We help tax business owners. I was like, am I going to do a TaxHive meetup, or should I just do a community? Okay. Where it's got the cool factor of the X and everything else. And the benefit is, and anyone in the community gets to benefit their business. A lot of people say don't be transactional, which I agree, but I believe in doing transactions for life with relationships.
Sure, yeah.
Because on the other side of your best relationships started with a transaction usually. Right. It's someone that you've done a business with, or you've started with, or you've done affiliate work with, or whatever. You're talking to them on a regular basis. So if you want deeper connection, actually do work together, do business together.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the idea of connection, because that's something. I was just at an event a couple of weeks ago, and the presenter was talking about just this innate need we have to connect with other people. We want to be connected. We're like biologically designed to be connected to people. And at the same time, we have fears to connect, right?
Yeah, scary.
In that entrepreneurial space, like you were talking about before, just the grind and that, is that is there a tendency to be isolated in that situation?
Yeah. So my first business I started was that 2009 business. And I came from, my dad was a bookstore manager for 40 years. So I didn't come from like, no checks were coming my way. Like growing up, I had to sell my neighbors to make my income, right?
Yeah.
And so I decided to launch my first business 2009. And then I literally was going to a sandwich shop every day, planning out my business. I had a spreadsheet. According to the spreadsheet, I was going to make $1 million. So I was excited. I was a spreadsheet millionaire walking around. And I decided to go raise money for the first time ever. So I raised 1.5. So I had a lot of no's. I met with about 70 angel investors, and 23 of them said yes. So I raised 1.5 million, and it took me about 6 months, but I raised 1.5 million. So I was like stoked. That was a happy day. That was like
the spreadsheet panned out.
Yeah,
exactly.
The spreadsheet all worked out. My family thought I was cool. My parents were proud of me. My neighbors thought I was a baller. I went on LinkedIn, but I was a CEO. I could show you my operating account went from 0 to 1.5 in the bank, and so I was really stoked. And at TaxEye, we work with Kevin O'Leary, the Shark Tank, and over the next 12 months, one of his quotes is, "In business, poo-poo happens."
Yeah.
And for me, I made about every mistake you could possibly make in that 12 months. And I went from 1.5 in the bank to $2,500 in the bank at the end of a year. It was worse than that because I had a house and a car that I leveraged. So I was like just trying to keep this thing pumping. I leveraged my house and my car. And so you talk about mental, so the problem is I had a failing business, but the pain was different for me. Like it was in fetal position, really hard. Rock bottom for me was on a Thursday night because payroll was due the next day at $3,500, and I had $2,500 in the bank, and I didn't have $1,000 in the world.
Yeah,
and so I didn't sleep that night. I went in to the office and I'm like doing my math. I'm like, okay, this is how much of payroll we can cover, down 1,000, and we can hopefully make it up this week. It's just a painful thing. I had this pounds per square inch pressure. You talk about mental.
Yeah,
like. What about 23 people that gave me 1.5? That's hard-earned dollars that they had faith and confidence in me. What about now employees are being affected? I have this group of incredible, it's not their fault.
Right.
It's my fault. And then what about the embarrassment of your family? What about all that stuff was pounds per square inch pressure. And I wasn't eating. You understand like what's happening in the psychology behind this, but I wasn't eating well, wasn't sleeping well. It was just one of the most miserable times of my life. So I went to lunch that day. I was praying for a miracle. A miracle doesn't come. There's no deposits. So I go back and I'm heading in to go tell the people in the office, and I get a phone call from my controller. She's like, "Hey, Shawn, I found $3,000 in petty cash. What do you want me to do with it?" And as you know from college days, like, hey, cash is king. So I screeched my tires, picked up the $3,000, and I went back to the office and I paid each person check. And that's how close I made payroll. And I made a list that afternoon of all the mistakes I'd made over the last 12 months. And my number one by far was I stopped building relationships in business. Maybe out of pride, maybe out of ego, maybe out of like I'm a high-flying
You already
CEO.
had 1.5 million. What
I
else
had
do you
1.5.
need, right? Exactly.
I already made it.
Right.
And so from that moment forward, I vowed I'm going to build relationships in business. And I built a relationship with a couple of people I had in my network. They became my partners, and ultimately, I saw what business is all about. They brought all their relationships to the table, and then we went on a run, and I was able to pay off the 1.5 plus interest to all of the investors. That's where it all came from. That's like my on your knees moment,
right?
And I have many of those. We all do, right? And on the knees moment to help me just pull out and say, hey, so I've lived it firsthand. And building relationships is a great way for you to build your company.
Yeah. Those are the best moments, I think. In the moment, we hate it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's gut-wrenching. Like you said, pounds per square inch is just horrible. But in retrospect, they can be so transformative to the way we live our lives, the way we do things. If you hadn't, I mean, let's say that that your business had been more successful than it was, with the $2,500 left in the bank, and you were able to make payroll and stuff like that, but you never came to that on your knees moment. There's a good chance that just continue doing it on your own, that you would have done okay, right? And you'd have maybe scaled it to a certain extent, but probably nowhere near you are now. But because you're at that moment, you had to reach out to other people. You
100%.
had to say, I can't do this on my own. I need help. I need education. I need support, whatever it is. Yeah.
Great insight. 100%. I mean, it going through it, like you said, it is painful and it hurts. But if I could go back to that day and say, hey, guess what? Just around the corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know you're feeling like life's ending now, but just around the corner, good things are happening. You're going to be able to pay off all these guys that you're concerned about, plus interest. I mean, it would have changed everything had I had that perspective. But
Right.
it did cause that pain caused me to make some real changes.
Right. And
Yeah.
and maybe even having that perspective wouldn't have enabled you to do what you did, right? In
100%.
that desperation,
Yeah.
you decided, I need help. I'm going to reach out, swallow my pride, whatever it is,
Yes.
ditch the spreadsheet and just say,
Mhm.
I have to get some other people involved.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. And I love that that you're doing that with X-Room as well, because hopefully what you're doing is saving some of these entrepreneurs that same mistake,
Yes.
just teaching them from the beginning.
Yeah.
You need support, you need connection, you need, these partnerships, these relationships.
Yeah.
At the very least, just for support, but at the most, like you said, maybe people who can add value to your business in practical ways.
That's right. So yeah, like you said, on the top, it's a lonely place sometime.
Yeah.
Talk about mental health concerns. When you're an entrepreneur and you're the only one on top, you got to get out of that position and start rubbing shoulders with other people that can give you, like you said, perspective.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. People that have walked the road before, right?
That's right.
Even better.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can, like you said, had you had someone in that moment,
Yeah.
that future version of yourself who could
That's
have
right.
sat you down and say, look, yeah, this does stink. However, this is going to likely lead to big things. So
Yeah.
be patient,
Yeah.
do what you need to do.
That's right. And confide in others too. What
Yes.
shocked me when I got out and I was like, my mask went away. I had a mask acting like I was incredible. And really I was operating down here, and I was afraid that if people found out I was really struggling in my business, that I'd lose all that credibility. And
Right. That cachet. Yeah.
all that went away. That was another benefit. It's like all that doesn't matter. I just meet people where I am. And I started having these authentic conversations with people who I thought were successful the whole life and always had it smooth sailing. And they're like, yeah, I've had that.
Right.
I didn't
tell you
make
about
payroll.
their on the news
Yeah.
moment. Exactly.
Yeah. And like, wait a minute, you're the successful person
Right.
I thought was always crushing. And they're like, no, what I found is like most people have been through this.
Yeah.
It's like one door you have to open, right, in business.
And I think that's such a valuable thing to recognize. And I wish that, I appreciate you telling your story about that, because I hope that when people listen, they hear that and they go, oh, wait, here's a successful person who had that moment.
Yeah.
When they're having their moment, that they don't panic. But I think it's super common among entrepreneurs to wear that mask.
Yeah.
To just say, oh, I'm successful. Here's my 1.5 million that I raised.
That's right. Yeah.
Why do you think? Any ideas why that mask is so common among that group?
I'm around successful people and other people who are trying to make it. I think they feel like, I better show this person that I'm also great.
Right.
And I think it's a massive mistake. Like I was with one of the most successful people I know. He's worth off the charts. And I introduced him to a friend who's struggling but trying to make it. That friend spent the 30 minutes talking to him just about all his incredible things he has.
The mask. Yeah.
The mask. And my friend who's super successful just said congratulations, and they left with that. As opposed to if you had approached him and said, hey, I'm actually going through some stuff. What perspective? He would have gotten incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. They both would have actually, the successful friend would have said, hey, this is a real person, because I've also gone through some stuff,
Right.
and he's willing to share with me. I'm willing to, so that it's a deeper relationship.
Yeah.
But I think in the name of putting on that mask, we don't really build the relationship.
No, I don't think we can.
Yeah.
I think there's such a value to authenticity that is very, very undervalued. And we think we have to put on that certain persona, have to be impressive in that, where people just want to know, who are you really, and what are you going through?
Yeah.
I think that happens in every single area of life. I think even in our personal relationships, our intimate relationships, as we're trying to build those, you can't have the mask in there either.
Yeah.
You have to be your real self.
100%. I read this book called Wild at Heart. It's a non-denominational Christian book, and it talked about this fake interaction at church of these two guys. One guy's having a marital problem, the other is having a drug issue with his daughter, and they see each other at church and like, hey, how's life? And the other one's like, oh, God is great. And it's the most incredible thing. The other one says the same. It's like, it's the most, as opposed, and then they don't actually leave that interaction neutral. They leave negative, because now they feel guilt that they're the only ones that have a problem, and this other person is crushing.
Right.
as opposed to if you were to actually have a real conversation. I'm actually going through some stuff right now. Finds out this guy, his son went through some stuff and has a great recommendation for a
Right.
therapist or whatever it is, and then you have a much deeper bond instead of negative, it's a very positive interaction.
Isn't that interesting that in those interactions, there's almost no way that it can be neutral.
Yeah.
It's either going to be extra bad or extra good, depending on which way you go.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
true.
that. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
So, okay, let me ask you about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Does it improve connection? Does it, what do you think?
Yeah. I think so. I do lots of social media,
Yeah.
so I put tons of business content out there. But I've done one recently as a dad talking about, I'm a girl dad, so how I believe dads should build up their daughters. Like I have some friends that, as out of love, the father in the home just tries to tear down their daughter and doesn't say nice things and doesn't compliment because they're hoping that this will make them tough.
It'll make them tough. Okay.
And I think that's a mistake.
Like
and
Marine boot camp? or
Yeah,
something?
exactly. I have a good friend who does this, and I'm like, as opposed to, I believe that, that you get plenty of rejection in the world. So I believe as a father, that confidence in their daughters specifically is built with the approval of the father, right? So,
Yes.
so I've done so many posts, but this one has now seen 20 million views on this clip on social.
Wow.
And to me, what I've found is it just helps. It's also a tool. I mean,
Right.
it definitely has its downsides, but
Right.
to me, it's an incredible tool.
I think it can open the door to those authentic connections.
Mhm.
I don't, in my experience, I think it's hard to connect virtually with anybody. We were talking about this when you walked into the studio this morning, and I said, I'm so glad that we can do this in person, right?
Yes.
Because so much of this podcasts are done virtually, and which that's a great convenience.
Yeah.
But there's something different about sitting across from each other, literally
100%.
in the flesh, right?
Yes.
And it's an entirely different experience.
Yeah.
And although we connected on social media, right?
Yeah.
That's how I found you,
Right.
and then that's how we
Yeah,
started this.
for sure.
So maybe that's the pattern. That could be like a beginning to building relationships. But now the relationship we have with each other is forever changed just
That's
because we looked each other in the eye, we shook hands and stuff
That's
like
right.
that, and we're talking like that sort.
You think about where that's going in the future too. It's like now with AI,
Right.
it's taking us farther from that in-person connection.
It is, and I think that I think we'll see the end of that at someday, or we'll see the results of that, I should say,
Yeah.
in a coming day. And I think that there will be, I think any new innovation that just kind of takes the world by storm always follows the same path. We love it. We invest trillions of dollars into it, and we think it's going to solve every problem in the world. And then about 10 years later, we realize, okay, well, it was really good at this. It's terrible at this, right? And then it finds its place, right? It kind of settles into this place of where it tends to be effective, and then we look for solutions in other ways. But I don't think there's a magic bullet for anything out there that's like the solution to everything.
What would you say is the mental health aspect of social media?
I think that if social media is used irresponsibly, then I think it's highly detrimental to people's mental health. For the very reason that you mentioned earlier in that example from the Wild Side, was that what it called?
Yep. The Wild at Heart.
Or the Wild at Heart. Sorry,
Yeah.
Wild at Heart, that book.
Yeah.
And the interaction those two people had at church. We put out our best on social media all the time, and that's all they see. And so if you were to compare it to that relationship with those two people at church, that's just happening a trillion times a day on social media. You're seeing my best, I'm seeing your best. And that naturally is going to lead us to feel worse.
And we compare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're comparing because we know our worst, but we're not putting it out there.
Sure.
And so, but the other person doesn't know our worst. And so we see their brand new car, or their brand new house, or their happy family picture or something like that. And
we say our life's not that.
exactly. And so
I'm
we feel worse in comparison. So I do think that if it's used strategically, maybe to continue legitimate connections over time, to connect with people that you haven't talked to in a long time, those sorts of things, I think it can be helpful. But it's definitely, this is going to be a terrible analogy, but of like drugs of abuse, cocaine it's a Schedule 2 drug and not a Schedule 1. Schedule 1 means there's no legitimate use whatsoever. Like heroin is a Schedule 1 drug.
Yeah.
cocaine is a Schedule True drug because it's a very powerful vasoconstrictor. So they use it in operating rooms at times.
Yeah.
Because if you put cocaine on a bleeder, it will immediately stop the bleeding. And so you might find surgery, operating rooms that have, a legitimate supply of cocaine in there for that very purpose. But it can also be highly, highly abused, right? And so I think social media kind of falls into that.
I think that's a great example.
I think there are like some cases where if used properly, it can be great, but it has such great potential for abuse. So anyway, my 2 cents on that.
That's good. I agree with that.
Okay, so let's talk again about entrepreneurship. And so when someone's listening to this right now, and they are saying, I'm at my on my knees moment, right?
Yes.
What again? So besides getting connected, any other advice to them? Like, what do they do?
I think as an entrepreneur, I've been through that a good handful of times where it's just like, and I think that's the key is being on your knees and praying. But for me, it's all getting in your system. Like when you're the most stressed, what does your day look like? Because what happens a lot of times when entrepreneurs get scared and nervous, they just don't do anything. They freeze.
Right.
Versus like, hey, no, just stick to your system. Like go out and read 30 minutes a day, go walk or exercise for 30 minutes. It's all the stuff that we've seen psychologists come back and say between reading, doing physical, kind of
getting out,
exercise,
getting some fresh air, getting some
fresh
sunlight,
air. Like
that
what's
sort
your
of thing,
system and process throughout the day, and just stick to that. And stick to that basic, like I'm waking up this time, I'm going to do this, and then just do a list. I've seen people, what happens is you feel like the sky's falling and there's 1,000 things you're supposed to do. Well, your brain can't handle 1,000 things. So literally, what is your list of things that you can accomplish that day? So stick to your system, make a list, say, I got 5 things I'm going to focus on today. And I can focus on these things. And I'm going to go out and do it because action is what helps you get through it versus being stagnant or staying.
Right. So just doing something to kind of get moving, get going. I think that's very good advice because I think you're absolutely right. In a lot of cases, people, they just get stuck. And the more they get stuck, the more they don't do anything. And the more they don't do anything, the more stuck they get, right? It becomes this negative feedback loop that is very detrimental. And I think part of the problem is they'll say, well, like they're in your situation, I've got $2,500, I'm $1,000 short. What the heck good is a walk going to do? What the heck good is reading, 2 chapters in a book going to do? And yes, that's not going to necessarily make $1,000 magically appear, but it gets you moving, it gets you unstuck, right? And I honestly believe that when we are, it's in the movement that you're going to find stuff, right? That's when you're going to, like you're saying, go to the X room. Someone's like, well, I don't want to do that because I've got this and this. No, go there. Worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to hear some good things. Best thing is you're going to get connected with someone because you're out there. The X room doesn't come to your door, right? You guys don't go door to door and knock and say,
don't go to your home.
Are you looking for connection?
Right. To me, it's the start that stops you. I've seen so many entrepreneurs, they wake up every day, they have 100 pass out their door and they don't know which one to take. And so they get really concerned and they just don't take anything.
Right.
And it's like literally the book, The Secret, where your focus goes, your energy flows, just start. Your first one's generally going to be your worst one, whatever it is. Like I have a friend that wanted to do what you're doing. He wanted to do a podcast. And I hadn't seen him for a while. And I saw him like a year later. I was like, hey, Ryan, how's your podcast going? He's like, oh, I haven't got it started yet because I'm waiting for the right technology. I'm waiting for a camera literally to zoom around the room and film me at different angles. Once I get that, so I was like, you know what, so I just sat down with him. I did his first podcast. I was like, let's just do our first one. And we did his first podcast. And then he did like 50 more in the next 6 months. And he did a lot of business. He has a real estate agent photography business. So he did a lot of business with real estate agents because he launched his podcast. Because every day he woke up, he's like, oh, I can do this in this show. I can do this in this show. I can go get this person as a guest because his focus just went there and he got to start. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. It's a lot of times entrepreneurs, they get stuck in that perfectionistic mindset, right? And they think that I have to have the perfect launch. I have to have the perfect thing. And it's never going to be perfect. I mean, it's always going to be flawed in some way. And so just start, just get it going. Because even then, that's when you start to see where the flaws are, right? Because you start it and you're like, oh, this isn't working exactly the way it should. You can design the perfect car, but until you take it on the road, it's no good, right?
Yeah.
But you spend 10 years designing it
100%.
and fixing it and changing this and changing that, but you're not going to see what might be wrong with it until you actually take it out and drive it.
That's right. Failures are just a piece of data.
Absolutely.
Right. It's like, hey, you figured this out. Oh man, I made this mistake.
Yeah.
What did I learn from that? That's a piece of data that I can go make an action from. Right.
Oh man, if every entrepreneur could just remember that, that failure is just, it's neutral data. That's all it is.
That's right.
Then that would make all the difference, because they're so afraid of it. All of us are afraid of it sometimes. And just, am I going to fail? And what's that going to be? Well, it's just information.
Yeah.
It's information on what to do different next time. So awesome.
Failing, in tax side, we do a lot of marketing. We fail in our marketing every week.
Right.
Because it's a piece of data. Hey, that didn't work compared to our control stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, on the daily, that's just part of the process of business. It's like, but you're right. People feel like I need to be perfect. This thing needs to be perfect before I do anything.
It's not
never going to happen.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Go out there, break some eggs, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Break a lot of eggs.
Yeah, it's been there. Done that.
Awesome. Shawn, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your story. It's inspiring. I appreciate it very, very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for listening today. Remember that change starts with you, and together we can increase our mental health momentum.